As you know, sometimes Photoshop Creative Cloud changes from version to version, and once in a while there's a tool that it's difficult to find and it's just changed on the fly. And one of those I just ran into were the custom shapes. Now, up until version 20, which was released in 2019, it really worked about the same way. And so when I hit version 21, which is in 2020, it changed where the shapes can be found, and I wanted to show you how you could find them. So right now, this is where it used to be. Version 20, which was released 2019, and this is how it's been really forever, from what I can remember. We have our custom shape tool here, and if I go up to the top and I can choose my shape, and there's generally a set of standard shapes. There's a few arrows, there's, heart and things like that. But you can always get other shape sets over here. So I could load things like nature, and I could replace it, or I can append. And so then I can add additional shapes to my set. So if I wanted to draw an arrow, I could easily do that. Now, let's look at version 21, which came out in 2020. Okay, so here we are. Photoshop looks basically the same. I can go here to my custom shape tool, but notice the presets now. The shapes are, I can do some trees. I've got wild animals, boats, and flowers. So those are kind of odd ones to start off with. This is right off of the install default. And if I go to the gear, notice it allows me to import shapes, but it doesn't have a list of ones to get. So if I went to import shapes, then suddenly I have to navigate through my drive structure and find it. And you can do that. It is hidden on your C drive inside of the Photoshop folder. I'll put the link to that in the video description if necessary. And you could do that and load your custom shapes folder, but there's an easier way to get to that. So what I can do instead is go up to Window, Shapes, and it looks almost the same as what I've got here, but what it lets me do is if I click on this, here I'm going to pull this over here, if I click on this hamburger menu, now it has an option of Legacy Shapes and More. If I click on that, it adds a folder, and if you open that, notice it has 2019 shapes, which are, trees and such. But it also has all legacy default shapes. So if I open that up, notice there are arrows, so I can get to arrows if I need them and things like that. Now, once I set it up in my shapes panel, I can go ahead and close that, and I can choose it up in the properties bar here. So notice it is now added to that as an option, Legacy Shapes and More. Oops. I can go to all legacy default shapes, and for instance, those arrows are up here, and I can go ahead and use them like normal. So this would have been, without looking this up, this would have been pretty frustrating for me. I've had students come to me and ask me where the shapes are, and I was not really sure what was going on because it always worked for me before. So I wanted to share that with you. Now, I did check out the next release, version 22, which came out just now in February of 21, and it looks like they went back to the standard default set of shapes. So I don't know where the trees and boats and things came from, but anyway, I just wanted to share that with you to help save some frustration.